Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Cultureverse podcast. Today's episode, we're going to start with our review over The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3, and then we will get into a review over a new movie that we just went and saw, which was Until Dawn. So let's go ahead and kick off the Last of Us review. Kel, would you like to go first since
Don't know what's
it's always,
happening.
yeah, since you haven't played the game.
um, I guess I'll just kind of say my initial thoughts first. I thought it was a little bit of a downgrade episode. I think, but it's a necessary downgrade. I think that this episode needed to kind of be like we were at such a peak in the last episode, kind of go down a little bit, needs to dip down so we can get back into that narrative. But I mean, the episode was good, like storytelling, but I just didn't think it was that engaging. And it's kind of a filler episode to an extent, in my opinion. Um, it was nice. It was nice to see Dina and and opposite
Bro
Bella.
doesn't even know the main character.
I almost said Bella, and I was like, I can't think of what it is right now. Ellie, I thought it was nice for them to kind of get closer a little bit. I'm excited to see their journey, but generally speaking, I thought this episode was pretty just all right, just for starters.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. I think we're going off the rails.
I
uh,
kind of figured that's what you guys were going to say.
we're starting to change things a bit.
I don't think Tommy's gonna do the thing.
I'm gonna be really angry
He
if
said he mentioned something about a porch.
yeah, and they okay, that's something different. Let me go off on that. If they don't do the flashback to the porch scene, I will be furious.
I did hear that. Oh my God, Pedro
Coded
Pascal's
relationship.
back for season 2. So
Right, I heard that too. So that has to be in it. That's one of the most important scenes in the entire game.
mhm.
But um, it, I'm getting concerned about Tommy. However, I can absolutely see him, finding out that Ellie and Dina left and then going out to go find them. And then we get good Tommy stuff. But
Before the season came out, I heard that they took a in quote major risk with this season. I'm curious if that's what the risk was, and they didn't do the thing with Tommy.
it also might have just been adapting Joel dying. I mean, that's pretty
That's like
risky.
not a risk. I mean,
Well,
that's,
people got really pissed the first time that happened and stopped
yeah, but
playing.
like we all knew it was gonna happen, and it
I
was
guess
part of the story. So it's a little bit
it'll
different.
definitely be interesting to see. But I thought the episode was fine. It is absolutely a filler, like you're saying, Phil. It's just to set up what's to come. But I don't know, man. I'm not feeling good about the direction right now. I'm a bit anxious. It's not. I'm just gonna stop watching. Obviously, I'm gonna watch it
Yeah, I'm
again.
done. No, I'm not doing it.
I'm getting a bit concerned. It's not feeling. It's starting to feel like a TV show and not an adaptation anymore to me. It feels like we're getting further away from the game. I'm just not sure how I feel about that. I'm anxious. I'm a bit nervous. I'm still not seeing the Bella Ramsey as Ellie. It's getting worse
Oh
with each episode.
no, no.
It really is. I mean, we're just getting to the point where it's too big of a role for a character for somebody, an actor like Bella, who just. I mean, is this Bella's first big thing? Is Last of Us? I mean,
Isn't
like,
she? Isn't, I'm pretty sure she's in House of Dragon. I could be wrong.
yes, I think so.
She
I don't know.
is.
Pretty
Actually,
sure.
I don't know. Whatever. Either way, I just don't think this role works anymore for Bella Ramsey. And I mean, I've seen Bella say it on social media to that they're just ignoring it all and the hate and whatnot. And I get that. Good for you. Please keep doing that so you can keep acting. But it's I'm gonna add on to the hate. I just don't. It's just not working anymore. It's not. The character of the game is significantly more mature, more intimidating, more a better, just more feels more like realistic that I would expect this character to go out and survive like this. Bella Ramsey, I feel like just looks like a 14-year-old still and still feels like Ellie from the first game. Like it's just not working anymore. And I even don't know how I feel about Dina anymore. Like Dina's it's fine. Isabella Merced's fine, but like it just I don't know, man. Tyler, I don't know if you agree. I just feel like we're looking like a show and not an adaptation right now. I'm getting
No,
it.
yeah, no disrespect to Belle Ramsey, but I don't even know if I want to blame her for all this. But I think
Oh,
it's
right.
the writers 100%. They're
I can see that.
this doesn't even feel like Ellie to begin
No.
with. So there's that. I think she's acting wise, she's doing pretty good. She's doing with
Yeah.
what she's given. But yeah, this is just not Ellie like at all,
No.
and that's a big big turnoff for me for every single episode from here on out. So
Yeah,
there's
I
that.
saw she was in. By the way, she was in Game of Thrones. She was a kid actor. She played like a kid.
Okay,
So
so yeah,
technically,
well,
yeah,
and with like the emotion and whatnot, the emotion scenes, Bella Ramsey does great. Like really, very very good. But like Tyler was just saying, like the lines just don't feel like it. Even when the lines are directly taken from the game, in the context of the episode, it just doesn't feel like the game. Like they're managing to make the lines from the game not feel like the game. Like
The one scene in particular that really threw me off
yeah,
was the speech she gave where she read off
yes,
the paper. I'm like,
me too.
this is not Ellie at all.
Yeah, not even kind of. Ellie
No.
would be Ellie would not be like they talk about how she wrote down like normally I would just get up and talk before thinking. That's exactly what she would do. Why
Yeah,
is she
that's the
would
point.
not that's literally the point is like that fire that fiery emotion that like
To be honest with you, she
raw
probably wouldn't even
anger.
go to this meeting. She would have been
No,
gone.
she would have already, yeah, she would have left immediately. Like
Yeah.
it's just not it feels like we're going out of our way to try to change the story to fit new narratives that the game never touched. And I don't like that. I don't feel good about that. I don't like the direction we're going in. And even outside of people who haven't played the game, even obviously it's evident for like Caleb noticed it too. Like this was just not a great episode. It was filler, but even with the filler, it's fine. Like it okay, we know what they're doing now. We knew what they were doing before the episode started. We knew they were going to go chase Abby. Like this whole episode was just showing us how they're going to go chase Abby. And it was like, okay, you got some good shots, like the graveyard shot was great. There's some really good visuals.
Yeah.
I don't care at this point about the visuals if the story is just not working anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we got introduced to the
That clan.
yeah,
Can't remember their name either.
I can't remember them at all. I'm glad we got introduced to them. That's a big part of the game. Absolutely. That's a really big part of the game. But I almost feel like we're going to underuse them too. I really do. I feel like even that's not going to get used the same way it does in the game. So I don't know. I'm anxious. This was probably my least favorite episode of the entire show. It's too slow, not connected to the game enough, and not compelling enough to me. So
yeah. I kind of said in the first episode review that I was kind of on the like, I don't think any of us were like out on. I think Tyler might have been more, but Bella Ramsey is Ellie, and at first I was like, that'd be crazy, and then at this point, I'm kind of agreeing, and I really think you guys are right. I think she's kind of acting her ass off. Like I think she's doing a really good job, and I would even argue. Isabella Merced, I thought she was in her bag this episode. I really thought she was really, really good. But like the problem is just like they're not written that intriguing. Like as much as I said the relationship blooming was like kind of cool to watch, I don't feel that like tension where like if it's like a romantic like pairing and they're going on like this survival mission, you would be like really intense about like if one of them dies, it'd be really bad for like your emotion. Like I just don't really like if one of them died, I'd be like maybe that would add more to the story. Like I just don't really care about them like as a
right.
relationship. Like
here's one thing I will say as well, Caleb, is that last episode, or was it that last episode, or it might have been the first one, whatever. There was a scene that in the game was different. It was the scene where Ellie and Jesse are in that like abandoned market with like all the weed. That's supposed to be Ellie and Dina. And in that scene in the game with Ellie and Dina, a lot of things happen.
They do it.
And all right.
They do it.
A lot of things happen and it absolutely like, builds on to like builds on to that romance and that bond. Mm-hmm. And then it feels more genuine when they do things later and you're like, I care about these two. Feels like it's just two people who are like insecure about their sexuality, like unaware of what they're doing. Like what's the point of this? Like,
I will say that
feel like we're going anywhere.
The scene in the tent was decent. I thought that was pretty
right.
good. It was like intimate. I think it was fine.
It was teasing.
Kinda,
like,
yeah.
It was fun enough.
But you know what? I'll say on that, I watched On Swift Horses today, small reference, and there was a bunch of relationships. And I'll say, seeing that and then remembering this is like just the lack of subtlety between relationships and like how you can write that. Yeah. Not as good as that. So a little disappointing for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing that I'm worried about is how Jesse's going to get involved. I liked that they at least like they at least talked about him this episode and mentioned how he's on the council now. Jesse is huge, like huge in this game. I don't even know if he's going to be a part of the story hardly anymore. Like I just don't know the role these characters are going to have as we're in the game. Like you knew who was doing what, who was going where, and you knew the end goal. Like it felt like there was a reason. Like everything that the characters do in the game, there's a reason for why they're doing it. This episode just felt like it almost felt like they just needed an episode to buy them time to make another episode. Like it just felt lazy, and it was frankly uninteresting in almost every single aspect. Like no zombies in the zombie TV show, just none, not a single one. Like hardly any conflict happened, and then we get this odd new storyline of the guy who previously hated the gays is now like loving
Was that not in the game?
not
I don't think so.
no,
I wonder
not-
because it felt awkward.
It's
I was
different.
like, is this in the
Well,
game? Because this feels like
it's-
weird.
This is what the show is doing. They're taking the things that the characters that cause conflict and they're trying to make them look better. They did it with Abby. They're doing with the older dude. Stop doing that. Like that's the reason the game worked the first time. Everyone liked the game, especially with Abby. That's a whole other thing I'm going to complain about later when Abby shows up again. But the show is trying to, spoiler, Abby comes back. The show is trying to almost feels like it's trying to distance itself from the game in a way by saying like we're not going down the same route. And for a video game adaptation, where season 1, by the way, was it did good. Season 1 did good. Why are we distancing ourselves? I don't get that. I feel like last episode is the best, but each episode, Tyler and I have definitely, the first episode we were like, that's pretty accurate. Last episode we were like, some things that were not accurate. And this episode it was like, is this The Last of Us or is this like The Walking Dead season 16? Like and that's the problem with this. You could have watched this episode and just had no idea it was The Last of Us. You just think, oh, it's just another zombie apocalypse show. And that's so not what you want. So I was thoroughly frustrated with this episode.
Well,
you gotta go.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. All right. I was just going to fast. The way I would kind of describe this how I'm getting this right now is it kind of feels like a dam that's like starting to crack.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like the
I
pieces are there to support it. And it's just like started to give away. And it's going to be a harsher crash for you guys than it will be for like Jack and I. Because for us, it's like, well, we don't know any better. And like, I'm definitely like this show more, like this season, probably more than you two have. And that's just because I'm ignorantly blessed. Like,
you're right. Yeah.
and like but like again, it's a problem when I'm like having kind of like distance myself, like emotionally from this show, and you guys have played the entire thing. It's like I know I can only imagine. Like I wouldn't say I'm frustrated by any means, like as you two might be, but I'm definitely just like confused. Like I don't know, it just feels off.
And that's something that season 1 didn't do. Like people who hadn't played the game were locked in for every single episode of season 1 because they just did it good. So like, I don't know, Tyler, what was the point you were gonna make?
Well, two things. One, the group that was dead, they're called the Seraphites. That's the group we get introduced to.
Seraphites, yes.
And then my second, how many episodes is going to be in this season? Do we know?
Is it 8 again?
That sounds right.
8?
Yes, I believe so.
This is what we've done so far with 8 episodes.
Well, didn't they say they were making this game 2 seasons?
This is technically like the first half.
I think that's gonna end up blowing up in their face because I think these next 3 episodes or so are gonna be. They have a lot to do in terms of catching up.
Oh, it's only gonna be 7.
7.
So they were halfway through pretty much.
Yeah.
And this season could be ass.
Well, the problem is by the time that they get to season 3 for the second part of the game, they're going to have lost interest. No one's going to care enough anymore. Like they're not handling this well.
No,
it's Caleb. You explained it really well. It's exactly what it is. It's a dam that's getting uncomfortably closer to cracking with each episode. So we'll see, but we can give our ratings and then move on to Until Dawn. So Caleb, you can go ahead and give your.
Yeah, like I said, this is kind of a filler episode, and my ratings for TV shows are a little bit different just because of like episode basis. But
yeah,
I still think I was like not mad at the episode. I think it's just like a filler, and it's kind of hard to rate filler episodes like that, at least personally. I ended up giving it 2.5 because it felt woefully average. I wasn't offended. But I think I'm just more so curious about the direction of where we're headed in the first place. And the fact that I'm thinking more about the future on an episode is usually not the best thing than just being in the moment. So um, I'm invested, but it's getting to that point.
Yeah. I think with this episode, they just kind of proved that they're really, really walking on thin ice. I mean, each episode we're getting less and less like the game. We're trying new things. We're leaving different storylines from the game, and it's getting to the point where I'm getting frustrated. And this episode was kind of just all of that frustration came out because last episode was still enjoyable. It was still really good with what they gave us, even though it had its differences. This episode was just not enjoyable, not entertaining, and not like the game. So I'm at a 1 out of 5. This was probably my least favorite episode of the entire show.
Well, I'm gonna quote my mom real quick. After we finished the episode, she said, "Well, that was quite uneventful," and that summarizes this episode pretty clearly. And I want to say something real quick, for our audience that we so have a great audience because it's uh, despite the fact that me and Gabe are sitting on the fact that this show isn't really doing much with the game, that we still understand the fact that they're trying to do something different, but
Mhm.
at the same time, you still need to keep up with the game, and they are
Yeah.
simply not doing that very well. But yeah, when it comes to the episode, very uneventful. As we go on, Belle Ramsey is just making it more and more evident that she's not fit for this role. And yeah, I agree with you, Gabe. 1 out of 5. This was a very bad episode.
Yeah, unfortunate, really. But yeah, with that, let's go ahead and get into the other video game adaptation.
Bring it in, Jack. Bring it in. Bring
Yeah,
it in, Jack.
Jack's coming now. Just to add on, obviously, we discussed the game, but Jack had not watched the episode and he didn't
He's a
care if we
goob.
talked about it. So we've been talking about it now, and yeah, so we're going to get into the new movie Until
better.
Dawn that just came out. Obviously, kind of funny we're doing two video game adaptations in the same
Oh yeah.
year, but yeah, we'll just do it the way we've been doing it. So I'll go ahead and start by asking a question here. Am I the only one that's played Until Dawn?
I played it.
You have played it?
Yeah, I played it.
Okay, good.
Then we
Glad to
should
hear.
start there then.
So,
So
Yeah, for sure.
two I haven't.
so yeah, Caleb and I have played it. The other two have not. I'm gonna go ahead and start by saying this. This movie was kind of just your average horror movie in terms of like some solid jump scares, some, they get you with the loud noises, they get you with some good horror stuff. You got some cliches, you got a little bit of humor, you got a good setting, and it's just like, it's average. It works. However, this is just not Until Dawn at all in any way, shape, or form. Not even a little bit. Except for the fact that at the very end, they're like, there's the cabin from the game. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, why did you do that? So I thought if I gave it a night, I would be a little less angry at that. I'm not. I'm still fairly frustrated about this concept because the game is really fun and it's like pretty much already a movie. So I understand wanting to change things, but that doesn't mean you just take the entire plot and just throw it in the garbage and then just call it Until Dawn and have like 3 characters from the game and you're like, it's still Until Dawn though. No, it's not. That'd be like if The Last of Us show was just not a zombie show, but Joel was still the main character. Like, not how it works. It's just not adapting a game at this point, Like, there were so many things that just bothered the hell out of me in the sense that if you wanted to make an Until Dawn movie, but in like the same universe as like a prequel or something, do not call it Until Dawn. Don't do that. Until Dawn is the
What about
game.
Until Morning?
Sure.
Shut up.
Honestly, sure. I would have been happier. Like, it just isn't the game. It's not anything like the game. It's not even an adaptation of the game, other than the fact that there's a few things. There's the therapist is the same guy. That therapist, he's back. And he's still a therapist, and he's still crucial to the story. 2, there's Wendigos, except they just did them very differently, and they're not like 9 feet tall like they're supposed to be. They're just dudes. They're zombies. Like, why? Why are they? They're so much less scary when they're not 9 feet tall and skinny as hell. They're literally just people that just have like a mask on. Like, why?
They look funny.
Why did you even do that? Why did you? Whatever. And then there's like a few other references like the killer with the mask, that's slightly in the game. And then the photo of Rami Malek's character, that was cool. That was a nice little. That was pretty much that. Actually, it was more of, in my opinion, at this point, that was more of like a fuck you to the audience. Like, look, it's the guy from the game, except it's not the game. So that was stupid. But if they end up making an Until Dawn 2 and it's like the game, I'll be thrilled. I'll be happy. I'll still be mad at this movie because this isn't Until Dawn. It's nothing like Until Dawn. The plot is completely different. And then they kind of also tried to half-ass the dead sister plot or the missing sister plot, which is just completely different in the game as well. Just so not the same. So just to kind of get over that real quick into the stuff that's not compared to the game, like I said, some decent humor, some pretty solid horror for the most part. They did really good with darkness, with using flashlights and like making really eerie shots that was like building the suspense and building the horror. They did really good with that. That built up well. To be honest, I thought almost every single actor was bad at minimum. I thought they were all pretty bad.
No comment.
It was just, and some of them were noticeably worse than others, but at the end of the day, they just all were not very good. So that's one of the stereotypes of horror that I hate. I hate when it's just shit actors. That's just not fun. I don't know why whatever. Not fun. Didn't like the actors, but some decent horror for the most part. Good humor. The story was kind of all over the place. And one more thing I did want to complain about in case I hadn't complained enough. I kind of hated the little like, we forgot the last 16 times. Here's the video on our phone of actually scary shit, but here's like 15 seconds of each scary shit thing. Why? Why did you do that? Because everything on that phone was scarier than almost anything we got before that. And we get a 15-second iPhone video that's lagging in like 420p quality. And it's just,
Yeah, that was so stupid.
it was
They
just,
used lag to try to
Guys,
scare
we're
people.
underground. It can't. There's no connection.
it was just it was just such an opportunity for like, okay, you want to go off on a different route, okay, go ahead and do it, but don't half-ass it and give me a YouTube video of the actual scary shit. So that really pissed me off because it just didn't really make any sense. They didn't really explain shit in this movie either, like at all, like how it was happening, how we got here, how the doctor's doing this, how the time works, how anything works. But just scream when you get jump scared and laugh at the bad acting, and you'll be all right. So, yeah, not gonna go into much else. I'll just throw it over to Caleb here.
Yeah. This movie is. I couldn't believe this movie was getting an adaptation because truly, I don't think it's adaptable. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just not really the story itself. Like, I don't know how you go off on that. So the fact that it's even referencing that is very strange to me. And I started my review by saying it's not really Until Dawn. I thought the movie was a fun time at first. I thought the story, it's not a one-to-one in the game, but I did like some of the influences it takes. Like I did like the therapist was cool. There was a couple references like the desk, like therapist desk where you sign in. Like they're like, yeah, that's terrible because like that is definitely just a flip you off moment. But there was a couple moments where I was like, I can see it, and it wasn't like horror. It didn't kill me. It was just like annoying because I just didn't think it needed to be titled Until Dawn. It was just like it was kind of to be make the reference. It's just I don't know. It was kind of straight like that. I thought the film had some charm. I thought the appeal for me was way more noticeable in the first half. I thought it was like it's a cheesy slasher, but it was working at first. I thought the introduction to like the main course we got was entertaining, and each night was pretty fun. The first couple nights I thought were fun. I thought the intensity that it wasn't too harsh or too dumb. It was just like the slashy, like a cheesy slasher flick, and it was kind of working. I thought the characters were okay. The acting's bad. The characters were okay. The acting is definitely bad. Again, don't even get me wrong, but I thought the dynamic between them didn't really have a lot of depth. So I just truly didn't really care about them as much as I was probably supposed to. But I didn't think they were unlikable. Like I was kind of just like, they're fine. I thought Abe was super underused and probably the best character.
Yeah, that's facts. I did like Abe. I'll give you that. I
and he-
leaned over to Jack and was like, this guy's just always right.
Yeah, like he was literally just like the voice of reason. We were just listening to him. I hate that trope so much. Where the trope of where I'm smart and everyone's insane trope that needs to die and never come back. Um, I thought the mystery wasn't horrible. It was intriguing to figure out what the resolution was going to be, except they don't really tell us. Um, I figured it would be corny, but I kind of wanted to know how we were going to get there. I thought the story had charm at first. The problem with this movie, though, is that the charm it has in the first half is not capitalized in the second half in the slightest. What kind of starts out as like a unique, fun, gory experience very quickly becomes the most cliche teen horror movie you've seen dozens of times. Piles of upon piles of boring dialogue and planning that just didn't connect with me. We go from this pretty cool nightly new thing is happening, and I was like, okay, it's kind of like it's intense, like it's not like scary, but it's like interesting and fresh. And I was intrigued with how they were going to get out of this. But at some point, it just became them sitting down and looking at computers and getting videos of exposition that was just like it gets boring. Like it had something going, and they were just like, we don't know what to do with this anymore. And the thing that kind of kills that for sure, Gabe, like, is the montage. The montage is the laziest writing I have may have seen this year. The fact that we go from it's night 4 to it's actually night like 12, and they show us this really quick montage to explain why we're on night 12. And you're 100% right, Gabe, too. That is those three scenes we get are the scariest ones. The one with like the guy is like kind of intense, but it's not really scary. It's just like intense. The one with like the bug, gross. Like that was the grossest part. The one with the long neck, very scary. Like that would have been.
Hated that thing.
Why was that not the first night?
That was haunting.
Like there was a couple like, and then like the Wendigos in the sewers, like the way it was filmed would have been a great thing to do. Like I don't know, instead of the exploding, like the spontaneous combustion
Let's get
scene.
onto that. Holy shit.
Um, I just I just think that the scariness and lack thereof was just like frankly not there. And I know it's supposed to be like a gory thing, but it just wasn't scary at all. Um, there was just random time jumps shown through the. This didn't work with me. And just kind of to close there, I just think the movie just like doesn't wow you at all. It's a pretty hollow shell of what the game is, which isn't horrible. It just isn't much better than the original. Actually, it's not better at all.
I was like,
It's not better at all. So yeah, um, and it led to some disappointing moments. So there's my little recap of what kind of is Until Dawn.
all right, you're up, Jake.
Honestly, for the large majority of what they said, I'm just gonna like take their word at face value. These guys are gonna have a like, in my opinion, a more valid opinion on it, having played the game. Because for me, like, it works a little better to not stick to the game because I don't have something to compare it to that I'm like, what the hell? Why aren't we doing this? But that kind of applies to all projects that are like this. However, even with that being said, I still agreed with pretty much all the cons and pros that you have with it. I'm really glad you guys brought up the hello Biao. I'm really glad you brought up the montage because that was probably one of the things that annoyed me the most. Most of you guys know that one of my most common gripes is when they don't show shit in horror movies. At least this movie wasn't PG-13. This movie would be like just immediate half star if it was a PG-13 movie. Like they would be horrible. But at least a lot of the gore and effects were actually decent. But like that montage, you guys are absolutely right. We should have just, rather than having, like Caleb mentioned, rather than having like mounds of shitty dialogue and like in quote drama with their characters, like the relationship stuff, like, oh, you think she's gonna come back with you if you go save her? I don't know, dude. Maybe. We're trying to stay alive. Like no one gives a shit about that. And so really no one cares about your teen drama aspect of it. But instead, how about we like progress quicker through each night instead of taking forever and just show more of the scary shit happening. And not to mention, I would rather have the montage be the like what showing us what we could have had is almost more annoying. Like I'm sure they're like, "Oh, we're going to include all the ideas of what could have happened so they can see everything that they went through." Like, no, we'd rather just see that. Like, I'd rather have the runtime be another 10 minutes longer and I got to see those scenes play out. like when you like I okay, I know I know it's not a great movie, so we don't really want to be that much longer, but it would be better if it had that. Um,
Or just trade
like
the
for
scenes.
and especially another thing that's annoying is that it's bait, which this movie does multiple things as bait, but that they used it in the trailer,
No, like
especially the
the
bug
trailer is
thing.
like majority of the video.
Yeah.
So
So like in the trailer, you see like, oh shit, I want to see what happens with that. No, you saw it in the trailer. It's not going to go any more than that. It literally just goes into her face and like, yep, it's gone. Yep, it definitely disappeared.
And
And
that's like the
then
highlight of the
nothing
trailer
happens.
too.
Nothing happens. Like I figured like maybe like, you could have like 1,000 spiders burst out of her face or something. That's like the scary stories to tell in the dark type shit. Um, you could have done all kinds of things. I mean, hell, you could have just had her fucking explode. I mean, obviously we were okay with doing that. That happens like 17 times in the movie. So yeah. And then speaking of bait, that's exactly what the title of the movie is. Like, even without playing the game, it's so very clearly like PlayStation was like, hell yeah, we'll give you the rights to it. We're gonna make like $100 million. Like, go ahead, like knock yourselves out. If the story, what is the story? Whatever, I don't care. Like you already signed the check, so have fun with the name. Tyler, I want you to sit and think about that for a few seconds.
my apologies.
But but yeah, that's something that irks me a little bit. Because honestly, I agreed the concept is actually kind of kind of nice. It does play similarly to like a Groundhog Day, Happy Death Day type of redundancy, but at least it's not one person. At least it's kind of spiced up where it's a whole group and they're trying to figure out every like a new thing every day. And I told Gabe during the movie like it felt like an escape room kind of. We're like trying to figure out these different things. And how to attack it differently every day. So that actually was kind of fun. And then we kind of are forced at some point. I don't know if it's like necessarily the halfway mark, but maybe like the 2/3 mark. We're kind of forced to like, okay, we got to wrap this up. Like this movie can only be so long. It's not that high budget, and people aren't going to want to sit here for over 2 hours for this movie. Like we got to wrap it up. And so then they're kind of forced into this final confrontation with the doctor. And I honestly felt like that, like there wasn't enough of him, honestly. And she just like basically when she does the cup thing, I was like, oh yeah, that's smart, but he's not gonna just do it, right? And it just ends right there. No, he just immediately takes the drinks and he dies. She wins. I was like, oh, that was easy. All right. Like, and then they start getting out and they're all running away and it's ticking down with the sand. I was like, this is how it's gonna end. Like, no one's gonna die, and they're all gonna get out and it's just gonna end. And it's gonna feel pretty quick. We're not gonna get some crazy shit happening in the movie. The doctor's not going to get fleshed out. We're not going to get really more of an explanation. We really just got the doctor being like, it's you. Like, you're an interesting subject, and that's all we get out of it. Like, you're fucked up in the head. No, obviously. We could have figured that out from the beginning.
But he's
I
not
would have
dead.
rather had a lot more. Maybe I don't know. How is he alive? Is there some lore I'm missing?
He didn't
No.
survive until dawn.
All right. You know what? That's actually worse. But yeah, it just kind of left me like, okay, like that's it. Like, sure, I guess. So, if that's any hint at what my rating might be, that was kind of where I was left at.
All right.
All right,
You're up.
well, from being on the opposite side of this thing, obviously with The Last of Us, I know the feeling of seeing something that isn't what it's supposed to be. So I'm definitely taking Gabe and Caleb's word for all of this, because I haven't seen or played the game. But yeah, you guys summed this up pretty well. This is a pretty just bad movie overall. Um, the best aspect of this movie was honestly the doctor. I want more of him. His story, the background, all of it. Like his character was amazing. And when they finally dive deep into his character, the last like what 10 minutes of the movie, and then kill him off, that was so irritating. But yeah, this movie was just meant to scare you. The plot was really really bad. There was nothing interesting about it outside of the doctor. And for me personally, I am obviously, as you guys know, what they call a coward. So obviously, I jumped multiple times in this movie. Um, and so I did find this movie decently scary. It's not no Hereditary by any means, but I definitely had some moments. But the amount of the amount of times that they did some horn honking or some unreal jump scare was too many to count, and I hated it. I mean, we've said that multiple times, but yeah, there's bad acting, plot that goes nowhere, terrible, terrible, it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, clearly we all loved it. So let's get into our little spoiler-free recap and ratings here. So, as somebody who's played the Until Dawn game, this was an absolute disappointment. This was in my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year, and what a letdown it was. I was really hoping this would follow the game tightly, bring in the same characters, same general story, change some things up, but instead we just took the name and threw everything else in the garbage and lit it on fire. So bad acting, not fun horror, pretty not great story at all, and a pretty basic conclusion made for a just flat out bad horror movie. So I give this a 1 out of 5.
For me, I was a little harsh on my cons, but I thought in summary this movie was a pretty fine time. It was oddly reminiscent to Hell of a Summer, which I just watched this year. I had fun with that, but it's the difference is that it just doesn't have the same charm as that movie does. The premise in the first half is like a solid like popcorn movie. It's kind of fun, gory, whatever. But the weak second half and the cliche narrative just makes it lose that charm. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I just didn't think it was good necessarily. I actually ended up, I think my cons kind of don't seem as bad as here. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was like, I don't think it was bad by any means. It wasn't good, but it definitely wasn't. I tried to take it with a grain of salt with the game, and I think it just didn't hurt as bad as game. Like I totally understand someone that's played this game hating it. I'm not saying you're wrong in the slightest because that definitely would hinder it if I just didn't connect. If I hated it as much, I just didn't that bad, but definitely not good. So don't think I'm like gonna love this movie. So that's what I would end with.
Jake?
For me, I think this movie was just, it's a lot of bait. It's just trying to drag you in. It's your pretty average horror movie, which is getting a bit redundant at this point for me. And so overall, just a mildly enjoyable experience with a decent premise, but just kind of falls flat.
All
Yeah,
right.
when it comes to the horror genre, I obviously get jump scared a lot. So you're obviously going to get me with just about anything, and this movie definitely does for me. With that being said, you still need to have other aspects besides jump scares, and this movie simply did not have that outside of one character that they don't even really do much with, and I wish they did because he was great with the doctor. But yeah, I also gave this a 1 out of 5.
Yeah. Jack, what
I
did
was
you-
in fact at a 2 out of 5. I forgot to mention that, folks. I apologize.
All right. Well, as always, we definitely hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Let us know in the comments below if you guys agreed or disagreed on either The Last of Us thoughts or Until Dawn thoughts. But as always, make sure you guys check out our social media as we will be posting more, and we will catch you guys.
Don't forget to like and subscribe
Don't forget to like and subscribe and share.
and share.
Okay.
And share. All right. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you next time.